Well, no, I haven't seen them.
Okay, let me interject something here. Again, we promised transparency and openness, so I feel comfortable saying this. There's an RFP that was prepared by Cherry Hill.
At the last meeting, I understood that there was an RFP.
There was an RFP prepared by Cherry Hill, and it was sent out to whoever, and however that's done. I'm not an RFP expert. There were certain addenda that were added to it, and I believe that not all those addenda were mailed to every person who had received the RFP. Therefore, it put some agencies at an advantage and others at a disadvantage, not having full information. So when the RFP responses came back, they essentially got they were all thrown out. And so the process is like starting over. We do have an RFP document, that was done. However, and this is a part of what Tom, I think, is interested in. We as committee people haven't really had much of an opportunity to do that. I think I emailed to each of you that the RFP, so that they all had a chance to review it, and we didn't have a chance to review it prior to it being sent out. And I have some questions about it, and I'm sure that other people, Tom, has questions about it, with suggestions and saying, what does this have to be in here? Why is this in here? What's missed? What this apparently is missing here? So, what I'm suggesting, what I'm looking for, is an opportunity to sit down with maybe somebody from DCA. So at this point, we don't have to depend on Cherry Hill because they are feeling stretched at this point to provide us with the amount of time that we feel like we need. And as I said before, in order to facilitate our progress, so that we're not sitting around and saying, well, Cherry Hill, you're ready now. If you or a representative from
I'll talk to John Rasimovich about it
and we can, and I think we can, get an RFP subcommittee essentially together from ourselves here, and sit down and go through and refine this, and then we would have an RFP that we were all comfortable with, and it wouldn't be starting all over again. It's like using this.
We have a pretty good draft, but we want to have everybody be involved in looking at it, and we want a little bit more expertise on whether it asks all the right questions and doesn't ask things we don't need to know.
Right. All right. Do you know, if this document that you're referring to has been sent to DCA at all?
The one that was drafted by our Cherry Hill people, was it sent to DCA?
I don't know.
I have no.
See, because it sounds to me like you need somebody to look that over.
Correct.
And determine if and that I need to know whether or not is it in some attachment form that perhaps I can
we can get you the current draft.
Good. And then I can forward it up to John, and he can look it over and see if there's any issue that he sees with it.
Yeah, right now it cannot be printed out, by the way. It's in some format that only allows you to view it. So whatever we got, we need to fix.
We can.
I was able to print it.
You were. I'll talk more to your.
All right.
What does that say that adds something different?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that.
That's great.
Do we then? Would it be appropriate to ask for volunteers to be on the committee?
It would be appropriate.
Okay.
I volunteer.
I volunteer too.
How about one more? Okay, with the three of you, we will get to you the comments from DCA, and then at our next meeting, we'll have a full discussion of the RFP.
You should have my email address, I think.
Yeah, I have.
Circulated.
I have it here.
You've been emailing me. I've been getting emails.
I have it here. I have everybody.
All right.
I don't have yours on here.
My email is pmcardno@msn. It's all lowercase.
So who do we have? What, three?
You, George, and Rosemary.
Yeah.
So, since I know this is an issue for you, why don't you assume responsibility of getting in touch with them to set up your own meeting about getting things together for that?
Will do.
Okay?
Thank you.
Does that satisfies part of what you're concerned with?
Yeah.
Correct?
For the commission's further kind of information, because neither municipality is currently prepared to fund the study, the RFP, we need as a commission to figure out a way to raise some funds to do that study. We think there's not a clear source of funding for DCA anymore for such studies, but we're going to try once again to do that due diligence to see whether there is some base funding from DCA that will enable us to fund at least part of the study through that process. In addition, there are some foundations that Anthony Perno and I have worked with in the past that are, this is in their sweet spot of things they would like to fund. And so we'll be reaching out to them, but we need a draft, and we need the responses of vendors to that draft to reach out to foundations with an exact amount of money we're going to need from them. So we're in a little bit, as I said, a chicken and the egg problem, getting it done, getting the study started. So we want to move very expeditiously to get whatever comments DCA has, and at our next meeting have a good open discussion among us all about if we're satisfied with the RFP and get it out to the appropriate potential vendors.
So the takeaway, if I understand what you're saying, is that when the subcommittee comes back to you, I'm just going to say this a little differently. When a subcommittee comes back to you, you're looking for a template recommendation or a RFP document that the subcommittee is recommending that you use, right, that has encompassed or whatever we may get from DCA, and sort of marrying the best of these various documents that we've had in the past.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then that we as a full commission would review it.
Right. And rather than a draft, I mean, I would ask that it be done in, like, this is it, so that we can then take a look at it. And
This
say,
is what we recommend.
This is it,
right,
so that we can then all take a look at it and look at it and say, this doesn't make sense, let's do this, let's change this or whatever. But not like, well, let's change this or that, like the document should be the document.
The draft document that the
yes,
committee is recommending.
Right.
And we're going to review that document as part of.
Correct.
The group.
Right.
Good deal.
Along with that, can I say that I will put in writing to our new chairperson for that committee my comments, suggestions, and ideas, and I would suggest that you all do the same thing, so that if you have ideas or like why was this in here, whatever, get those to these people as soon as possible, so that they can get this done as quickly as possible.
Appreciate it.
Without feeling, I mean, time is important, but we don't want to rush it, but at the same time, we don't want to just wait.
Don't want to let it line issue.
Right, we don't want to line issue. That's not what we do here.
The expectation is that we have something to you at our next meeting, which is February?
Well, we have to talk about that at the end.
Yeah.
No, March.
So we do have a call on the agenda for subcommittee reports. I'm not sure there was much subcommittee activity other than the activity around the RFP, but if people have subcommittee reports that they would like to make.
I have a mini report, even though the finance subcommittee didn't meet. Do you want those pieces of information? If you can pass the sheet around, share it, because I'm cheap. I don't print out 19 copies.
Do you have enough over there?
Everybody got something they can share? It's okay. It's under new business, and it's halfway down the page, and it says Finance Subcommittee report for tonight. And no meeting was held, but inquiries were made to the following entities. Courage to Connect. I had a number of conversations with Gina Genovese, and she was helpful in getting me the type of information I wanted, such as the Princeton information, which is on the website that all of you can get at Courage to Connect. And it shows you what the RFP looks like, and it shows you what the responses were by the winning bidder. And it tells you how Princeton got out of the SHARE program $37,500 to aid them in doing their study effort. But SHARE has been it's been ended, so we don't have that source. And then I also spoke to people at DCA, because I apologize, I should have talked to George, but I talked to John and Mark and Patricia, and in those calls, they're very helpful to the extent that they would or could be, because nobody likes to speak for somebody else. They say, well, you better talk to so-and-so. But anyway, John was the best source. And he said the only aid that will be available to us will be transitional aid. And I kept working him a little bit. He said we could get 20% of what it costs if we go ahead with this thing, if it passes on the ballot. And I said, well, I'm really looking for money for help with a study. And I said, you know, Christie seems to want this, so he seemed to think that if I wanted to work that street, I could. So it's up to us to find the money. And I just wanted you to know that's what I experienced. And then the study we talked about, so basically the big point that John made to me was, look, yeah, we'll do the fiscal aspects, they call it.
Fiscal impacts.
Well, the statute, I'll just read the words. The DCA will prepare an objective study of the fiscal aspects of the proposed consolidation. So I guess they meant impacts. Who knows?
It's the same aspect, fiscal aspect.
And he said that, but I said, hey, that's great. You're almost doing our job for us. We want to get a consultant. He said, no. He said, not so fast, Tommy.
Tom should have recorded before me.
He said the effectiveness and the efficiency. Now, my definition from Peter Drucker on effectiveness is doing the right thing. So he wanted us to be able, with the use of the consultant, to describe what is the right thing for a local government to do, or a local fire department, or a local whatever that we have in this consolidation study. So are they doing the right thing? And secondly, in other words, is this the thing you should be doing at this level for this department? And then he said, and how are you doing the things right? Meaning, how efficient are they being done? How efficiently are they being done? And so he said, you should really work hard on that. And then that's when I read all the stuff from Princeton. And the deliverables were kind of vague. And I felt like, you know, how do we know what we're getting for our bucks? So that was my big issue. And John said, well, you have to work that out on your committee.